Hello, guys, and welcome to Odds Europa League, last 16 round, first leg, and we are here, of course, with Alvaro and Dani to analyze all the games. How are you guys?
Hello.
Ciao
Very well,
Edu,
thank
ciao
you.
Alvaro, all very well, thank you.
Nice to see you back, guys. Remember to leave a comment in the video and don't forget to support us. Press the like and subscribe to our channel. And now let's go on with the show. First games we have on Wednesday, and we have a very good game, actually. The first one, Porto Lyon. This is almost a Champions League game. Porto 6 points clear from Sporting Lisbon in a very good moment, knockout Lazio. So I guess that they should be considered favorites against Lisbon.
Well, depends. I think Porto have got a very good European pedigree and did a very good job against Lazio, and they play a Lyon side that has been very inconsistent so far this season. In the league, they are 9th in the table, only 2 wins in the last 5, only 3 clean sheets for Lyon domestically in the last 9. But if you look at the Europa League form, they won all the 3 away games. So, at the weekend they did well against Lorient. They won 4-1. Romain Favre, the new signing from Brest, score 2. But, it is a team that has been stuttering, has been really inconsistent in League One. For example, in the League One, no players are in double figures so far. Maybe that's why they brought a new striker like Favre, and they only scored 2 goals or more only in 7 of the last 15 games. So it's not a great tally for Lyon, and maybe they're still adapting to the new way of playing with Peter Bosch. They brought him in. He seems to have a very good fit because of his high tempo game, the counter pressing, but the results haven't quite come. Maybe they should have strengthened the team a little bit more. Obviously, in the summer they signed Shaqiri, they signed Emerson Palmieri, they signed Boateng. Perhaps they need a little bit more in midfield. But when it comes to playing in Europe, they've been good. Let's see, because I think they got good attacking force. Obviously, we mentioned Favre. They got Paquetá, who's done really well in the Europa League so far. They got Arouar, Toko Ekambi. Also, we've seen him in the African Cup of Nations. Always handful. They beat. But as I said, you don't know what you get from them because they beat Nice, for example, recently 2-0. And we know Nice is a very hard team to beat. PSG saw the weekend, but then lost against Lille. For this one, I think both could score, so it could be a high-scoring game. And I'm going to go for a sort of a mini ACCA in this one, both to score and over 2.5 goals, which if you combine them together pays 297. Very high odds. You can go for one of the two, but if you go for both of them, I would say just bet alpha unit than what you normally do.
Well, I think that this game is quite difficult to predict. I believe that Olympique Lyon, as much as they are doing bad in France, at least on paper, at least on the table, if you look at it more thoroughly, well, maybe this is the kind of thing that has a surprise factor in them. Olympique Lyon, they are only 5 points away from the Champions League spot, number 1. They are 9th, yes, but only 5 points away from the Champions League. They have Toko Ekambi playing the African Cup of Nations, and Toko Ekambi is very important for them. Ekambi, in fact, is the top scorer of the Europa League. And then they've got a number of players who are very dangerous. They've got an international from Brazil, with Brazil, like Lucas Paquetá, who plays a lot with Tite as well. So plenty of talent all around. And it's not a coincidence that they have beaten this season Nice, they have beaten Marseille, they have beaten Monaco, they have drawn with PSG. In the group stage, they went through very easily. So I think that they are the kind of inconsistent team that if they get the right management in the last third of the competition or the final or the last 3 months, they're going to cause havoc problems to everyone, and I think that they are still on course to qualify for Europe for next season. So Lyon is not such a bad team, and when it comes to Porto, Porto is just the right opposite because they are consistent. I mean, in Portugal, they are still 6 points clear on top of the table. It's very difficult to beat them. They knocked out Lazio in the previous round, and they match anybody's intensity. I think that they've got quality players up front who can make the difference too. Taremi being one of them. I really rated this guy. And I think that this game is very difficult to predict. I mean, if you look at the big picture, the biggest stats, I don't know how much they matter here. Porto have won their last 6 games against French clubs, which is quite impressive as well. They haven't lost against the French club actually since 1971, but it's, I think that, different squads, different times. It doesn't matter so much, but Porto, generally speaking, has been a very competitive side over the last 18 months since Sergio Conceição took over. So I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to use this game for the ACCA because I think that this one is quite unpredictable, but there are some good odds here and there. For example, I like Asian handicap minus 0.25 for Porto. That pays 178. Asian handicap corners minus 1 for Porto. That pays 190. I like that one as well. I guess that Porto will attack a bit more, at least in the first half, and that will result in corners. And there is another one that, if you are a believer in Olympique de Lyon, if you back them, is excellent. I think the bookies have hidden a little treasure for Lyon believers, which is the draw no bet for them. It's 270. And that is quite appealing as well. Not for me, but I'm saying if you're a Lyon believer, 270 for a draw no bet is excellent.
Lyon believer. Petar is not a Lyon believer for sure. Porto is winning this one for sure. This is a very good one. Porto real favorite, very consistent, as you say. And also on Wednesday, we have Betis, Frankfurt falling in La Liga. They are now out of the Champions League spots. Perhaps they are tired after the Copa del Rey efforts, also Europa League against Zenit. And also Frankfurt is usually struggling in the Bundesliga, up and downs, more reliable in Europe. Do you still trust this Betis, Alvaro?
I trust Betis a little bit, yes, but not as much as a month ago because, I think that this season they are going to play around 15 more games than last season. They are already in the Cup final and they are in the Europa League last 16 round. There are a few players who look jaded, tired to me. I think that I rate Betis. Let's say that before anything else. But for example, the other day against Atletico de Madrid on Sunday at 9 p.m. Spanish time, they played against Atletico de Madrid, and I think that Atletico showed that they had more maturity. I think that the defensive duo of Betis is not very, very convincing. For example, Bartra and whoever plays next to him the other day was Victor Ruiz. They are not particularly strong. They are not robust. And a team like Frankfurt can actually capitalize that. Betis against quick teams, they suffer. That's for sure, because Betis is quite a veteran side. I think that the average age of the squad or of the lineup is over 28 years old, and sometimes they suffer when they play against a very fast team. We saw that, for example, Edu, you will remember this, against Bayer Leverkusen in the Europa League group stage. A fast team like Leverkusen caused a lot of problems to Betis. And I think that Frankfurt has that potential as well. I think that they can do that. So I think that for this game, I could back the following things. Both teams to score, I strongly encourage you to go for that one. 166. Betis is not perfect defensively. Frankfurt scores a decent amount of goals. It's not, obviously, 166, an amount that is going to make you rich, but it's better than a marginal win, for sure. Over 2.75 goals. I like that one too. 191. And, I think that this is not crazy at all. A double chance for Frankfurt, meaning that, they can draw, they can win. A double chance for Frankfurt, 202. Again, if you're a Frankfurt believer, go for it, because Betis at this stage of the season is not as fit as they were in February, is not as fit as they were in January. So maybe this is a good moment to go at Betis ground and actually give them a proper upset.
I like the fact that Betis is a team that plays a lot on the front foot. He has showed a lot of attacking force in the Europa League, and they already knocked out a team out of the Europa League. They knocked out Zenit, which I don't think was as easy as some people thought it was going to be. When it comes to Frankfurt, they topped the group in Europa League, but it was an easy group with Olympiacos, who's already out, Fenerbahce, and Antwerp. A bit of a strange season for Frankfurt. I think they changed the manager. They replaced Hutter with Glasner. Things are not quite clicking, but they're good in European competition. They qualified in 5 of the last 7 round of 16s knockouts. In the league, things are not going as expected. A goal difference of 0 is always a little bit suspect. A team that scores quite a lot but concedes a lot as well. They lost 3 of the last 5, and they failed to score in 4 of the last 7 games. I wonder if they're going through a dry patch. They could win Hertha Berlin though the weekend. They won 4-1. That was the biggest away wins of the season so far for a team that, let's not forget, a couple of weeks ago took Bayern almost all the way. Bayern needed a late goal from Sane to win that game. So again, a bit inconsistent here. Maybe a lack of clear goal scorer this season. Borre de Colombia scored only 7 in the league so far. They finished 4th last season, let's not forget. So obviously anything less than a European qualifying position for them, it's a disappointment. They only won 1 of the last 7 away fixtures in the Europa League in knockout phases. So that's why maybe the bookies don't fancy them. I'm not going to risk an outright market odds here. I'm going to go for corners. I'm going to go for an Asian handicap corners for Betis for the home team. And these are minus 1.5 Asian handicap corners for Betis, which pays 222. I think is a very good odds for a team that perhaps is going to have the ball a little bit more, attacking more. So if they have 2 more corners than Eintracht Frankfurt, you win 222.
Europe with a lot of fans, goals and goals for Petrov, for Valbrand, and Rick is telling us that it's very difficult to trust any German team this season, and he's completely right. It's easier, I guess, to trust Sevilla, especially when they are playing at home. We have Sevilla, West Ham out of the title race. I guess now they are gonna focus real in this Europa League. And for Danny, Tom Rennie is always telling us that the squad is too short, perhaps also to fight for this Europa League. How do you
I think West Ham squad is definitely shorter. I mean, they're playing pretty much the same team week in and week out, and already have played almost 40 games. They haven't strengthened the team in January, and you can tell a little bit of fatigue kicking in for a team that they've not been used to playing in Europe. This is by far the biggest game in European competition since 80-81, maybe the biggest game in the club history since the FA Cup final in 2006. Talking ages ago. It is a team that, yes, it could be a little bit fatigued. They got knocked out of the FA Cup by Southampton. Southampton was playing a lot of reserves players, yet they managed to win against West Ham. And, the FA Cup could have been a target for West Ham this season. Nonetheless, a team that has improved a lot from last season, has got its own identity. I think they know their limits as well. They know the strengths. It's a team that has got a lot of willpower. They will never stop running. They will never stop chasing the ball. Players like Bowen, Antonio, these are, they don't tire very, very easily, and they're always there to put the extra run. But will it be enough at the Sanchez Pizjuan against Sevilla? We'll see. They might be actually without Bowen. Check the lineup if he got a knock against Liverpool. Rice should be fit for this one. Only 3 clean sheets in the last 10 for West Ham. So yeah, Sevilla to score first. Obviously a good bet. We know Sevilla are very solid as well when it comes to play at home. West Ham needs to take the chances. That is what they didn't do against Liverpool at the weekend. They had a lot of chances running in behind with a ball over the top. The two center halves, they couldn't convert them. Maybe they would have got a point. I feel if they scored, they would have got a point from Liverpool. They can both score. I wouldn't discard a surprise for West Ham. I wouldn't discard a draw in this case, but I'm gonna be conservative and I'm gonna go for an over 1 goal in the first half, which pays 215. That means if there's only 1 goal in the first half, you get your money back. More than 1 goal, you win 215. If he ends 0-0, you lose your stake.
I am very worried about Sevilla. I'm really worried about them. I think that Sevilla is a much better team than West Ham United, way better team. But at the same time, for this game, they've got around 9 players in the sidelines. One of them, Fernando, for example, should be in the sidelines as well because he should have had an ankle operation surgery in his ankle, and the club is asking him not to have it until summer because they need him. They need him. And on top of that, if Fernando, for example, wouldn't start because he is not fully fit, which, by the way, he's not, then Thomas Delaney would be the most probable replacement, and Thomas Delaney is suspended for this game. So Fernando will have to play. There are so many players in the sidelines, good ones. And as I said before, Sevilla is a better team, but at this moment they are depleted. The season is getting too long for them, and the players don't trust the medical staff. This week we learned that many Sevilla players, they are 5 or 6 together, going to Madrid to look for medical advice because they don't trust on Sevilla doctors. So I think that Sevilla and Lopetegui didn't prepare this game very well. I mean, they are actually suffering. In the weekend, or on Friday, they drew with Alaves. And I think that the absentees or having so many players in the sidelines was one of the reasons for that. And West Ham United, yes, I think that the season is also getting a little bit long for them because they've been involved in many competitions. In the Europa League, they played already 6 games, and I think that they should have signed a striker in the winter transfer window because right now Antonio is the only focal point up front. Well, but still, I think that they are going to be totally benefited by the major injury concerns of Sevilla, massive. So I'm going to go for the following. And I know that Sevilla normally against English opposition, they find it very easy. I mean, don't forget that in 2020, en route to winning the Europa League, they beat Wolves, they beat Manchester United, they beat Manchester United in Old Trafford in 2018 as well with Sampaoli. Jose Mourinho was the manager of Sevilla. They beat Liverpool in the final in 2016. So Sevilla against English opposition normally finds it very easy, but this time there was so many problems that I find it difficult to back them fully. So I'm going to back them, but in a conservative way. I'm going to go for an Asian handicap minus 0.25 for Sevilla. That pays 179.
And we have a very good game. The next one, I'm really looking forward to watching this one. Atalanta Leverkusen, we spoke last week that because in this area they are far away, but we know that they struggle a lot playing at home and they are facing this Leverkusen. That is true that we cannot trust German teams, Alvaro, but they are in a very good form as they showed this weekend, really facing Bayern Munich and getting a point from the Allianz Arena.
The thing is, Edu, can we trust Italian teams? Seriously. And Danny probably, the thing is that right now, I mean, if you look at it, which are the only Italian clubs Atalanta that look like candidates to stay in Europe after the international break? Juventus, possibly, if they manage to beat Villarreal in the second leg, and maybe Atalanta. Danny, correct me if I am wrong. I don't think that no other Italian team looks very likely to be in the quarterfinals of any competition. And Roma, of course, in the Conference League. Roma in the Conference League. Yes. Okay. One team per competition. It's not a lot. I don't think that Italian football should feel, like they should be boasting or showing off about their performance this year in comparison to German football. But yeah, come on, this game is going to be one of the entertaining ones. There is no saying no to that. At the end of the day, we're watching Atalanta, we're watching Bayer Leverkusen. Bayer Leverkusen in the Bundesliga have scored as many goals as Borussia Dortmund, which is already quite impressive. They have scored 64 goals. In the Europa League, in the group stage, they beat Betis comfortably in the first game, and then they negotiated the group stage very comfortably too. Moussa Diaby and Florian Wirtz They have each other 3 assists in the Europa League, and they are scoring goals in Germany. They are really exciting players. And when it comes to Atalanta, we all know what they are capable of, even though in the weekend they lost, I believe. But generally speaking, for this game, I think that my eyes went straight to the goals market. Both teams to score 160, yes, one of them. Over 2.5 goals, 168. Why not? I think that is very similar. And those will be my favorite bets, of course. I'm always flagging the double chance here because I think that in this round of the Europa League, there is a lot of pretty much in every tier, the games are pretty level. So in the same way that I flagged that, for example, the double chance for Lyon or the double chance for Frankfurt were good, well, the double chance for Bayer Leverkusen playing at Atalanta, I mean, at the end of the day, we're talking about the third qualifier in the Bundesliga, is not bad. That pays 193. Not for me, though. I'm going to stick to the goals market. Both teams to score 160, over 2.5 goals, 168.
Atalanta got us used well, very well, perhaps too well in the last few seasons, and this is one of the poorest seasons they're having so far, based mostly on a very poor home form. Atalanta, they lost already 6 games at home so far this season, and also when they play away, they do struggle to break down very organized defense. It happened when they played against Genoa a month ago. It happened when they played against Lazio. They had a lot of injuries there. It happened again against Roma. I don't remember Rui Patricio making many big saves. So Atalanta is lacking the spark, is lacking the movement also because, without Ilicic, long-time injury, without Zapata, things are not quite clicking. We can see glimpses of Atalanta, in the game against Sampdoria. Cup Miners was fantastic when he runs from behind and getting into the box. He's not very consistent, and I think also Muriel playing up front, starting on the first minute, he had injuries as well. It's really not his year. But Atalanta have a good European pedigree, or at least they are building it. In fact, they never lost in the Europa League in 10 games, only 3 at home, only 3 Europa League defeats in 20 games. Okay, it's not a lot, but that tells you how this team has been raising the bar year in and year out. So they need to come back after I think it's disappointing defeat against Roma. They lost twice against Roma so far this season, and they lost a few big games already this season in Serie A. In the second half, they had no shots on target, for example, against Roma. They are goalless, as I said, in Serie A in 5 of the last 9 games. And this is the free-flowing Atalanta that we all admired, and we all think they're going to score for fun. Well, it hasn't quite happened for them. And when they play also at home, they're always liable to mistakes. They are not watertight at the back. They concede goals. This happened against Olympiacos as well. And then they won 3-0 away. So for this reason, I think, check the lineups because I'm not sure if Schick is going to play. Today they were saying it might be doubtful. And it could be, a massive doubt for Leverkusen. But if Schick plays, if Leverkusen puts the strong 11, I think they could come out with a good result from Bergamo, both to score. I like it, but better odds on a double chance X2, 194.
A lot of confidence in Leverkusen, actually, and in goals for Santa, for Rick, for Lille. It looks good. The odds for Leverkusen, a lot of confidence, I guess we have to have in Barcelona playing Galatasaray now. Barcelona, they are the favorites to win the competition. They are strong even in La Liga, sometimes struggling like we saw against Elche, but at the end of the day, they are getting the results and they are playing a Galatasaray that they are absolutely poor this season. Danny, domestically, the only positive things for them are in Europe, actually.
Yeah, because in Europe, strangely, they are unbeaten in 10 European games. Very poor domestic campaign. They are 12th in the league. Goal difference -4. Lost at the weekend. No clean sheets in the last 11 for Galatasaray. They're not going to go down. They are too good to go down. But where is the team last year challenge for the title gone? Remember, last year they only lost the title on goal difference against Besiktas. So it is a team that looks a little bit lost. And also, a team that recently lost against a second division in the cup against a name that I don't dare to pronounce, but it's a second division team. trust me. But again, then in Europe, at home they were good, top the group. But it was a tough group against Lazio and Marseille. Lazio is the second high scoring team in Italy. Maybe at that time they were going through, an adaptation phase in Italy. But Marseille is a threatening team. They progress in the Conference League. So Galatasaray obviously showed the best side of them in Europe. You can see the odds. I mean, winning at the Camp Nou, 17. Yeah, probably is even generous. I think. I mean, it could be more considering how good Barcelona playing so far. Very difficult to find any value for Barcelona. By the way, they're favorites to win the Europa League. You could go for Barcelona to win both halves, and that pays well. 220, okay, it is a bit risky because if Barcelona wins the first half 3-0, they don't have to go and win the second half, but that's the value. I don't know if Alvaro agrees with me.
I agree fully. And actually, that was one of the odds that I was going to pinpoint here. I think Barcelona to win both halves, 220 is very good. Of course, less speculative it is Barcelona to score in both halves. That pays 160, but the value you are getting is less as well. As Daniele broke down before, Galatasaray are having a really weird season because in the Europa League they negotiate a really tough group stage, in my opinion. They managed to go through, but then in the league they have been awful with a number of players that, they are, to start with, they are quite old, I would say, but they never even rated when they were young. And I think the epitome of that is Patrick Van Aanholt, the player who was in Crystal Palace for many years and who is a disaster of a left back. But, there are some others over there, like, for example, Ryan Babel, who has had here and there good seasons, but he has never been consistent for more than 2 years in a row. Bafetimbi Gomis, a striker that for many years I had lost completely. He wasn't under my radar, and he happens to be playing there. Arda Turan, probably one of the worst signings Barcelona ever did, a player that was never capable of showing a glimpse of quality for Barcelona. So we can start checking the lineup or the squad of Galatasaray, and we will see that it's incomparable to Barcelona's, because Barcelona, in the winter transfer window, they did very well. They brought off players that they needed to bring in. And for example, I think that the win against Elche the other day, it was difficult, but it showed that Barcelona did a good job in winter. Why? Because with the lineup, they couldn't beat Elche. And from the bench, they brought in Ferran Torres and then Memphis Depay. That is quality. And they managed to win the game with goals from those two players. So Barcelona right now, they've got options up front. And this is the difference between Barcelona now and Barcelona in December. On top of that, they are playing very well. Defensively, they have improved a little bit, but I believe that this is a consequence of how the team is playing. I'm not too sure about Ter Stegen. I think that Ter Stegen is not having a good season, though. But generally speaking, Barcelona is playing football, is imposing their football, is dominating the games, and I like what I see with Barcelona. I think that this is not going to be enough to challenge for La Liga. This should be enough to challenge for the Europa League, and probably their best tasks ahead for Barcelona are the Europa League and a game at Santiago Bernabeu in April to prove whether they are back completely or not. So for this game, I'm going to back Barcelona, and I'm going to back Barcelona, as I said before, to score in both halves, 160, and to win both halves, 220.
We agree.
Braga Monaco is our next game. I think we can say exactly the same for Monaco as we said for Lyon. It's a very inconsistent team. They got a very good result against Marseille at the weekend, but still, I guess they should be considered favorites against Braga, a team that is good at home, but also they are very vulnerable, as we saw against Sheriff. Alvaro, I guess there is some value, no, Monaco here.
There is some value on Monaco here. I agree with you. I think that Braga, well, they managed to do the job against Sheriff. It wasn't easy. Sheriff has been the surprise of the season. But yeah, they did it. And Braga can boast one player who is actually quite decent. I'm talking about Ricardo Horta, who in the Europa League is hitting kind of great figures because he got 4 Europa League goals, 4 assists, and then there are players who are creative, like Yuri Medeiros, for example, that are keeping Braga in a decent position here in the Europa League. They managed to make it to the last 16 round, and I think that this is more or less it for Braga. In the weekend, they got a draw against Boavista. The weekend before, they got another draw against Santa Clara. I guess that they don't have a very strong squad just to be competing in the Europa League and in the Portuguese top flight. I think that probably this has become quite clear right now. And when it comes to their opponents, I will say that Monaco, they are as unpredictable as Lyon, but as dangerous as Lyon, because they topped the group with Real Sociedad and PSV Eindhoven. And I remember perfectly that I always thought that Monaco was far better than Real Sociedad. They've got the dangerous players. One of my favorite strikers of the last 10 years is playing for them. I'm talking about Wissam Ben Yedder, not because his numbers are particularly amazing, which, by the way, they are very good, but because he's a guy who comes from futsal. He was playing futsal until he was 20 years old, and he's got that technique, and he puts it into practice in a football pitch, and he's very good in the pockets, inside the small spaces as well. So I really rate Wissam Ben Yedder, and I hope that in this Europa League he gets the praise that he deserves, because he's a phenomenal footballer. In fact, if he wasn't French, he would be starting probably for Spain, or maybe, who knows, or he will be in the squad of a team like Italy. But France has so much talent up front that Ben Yedder, many times, he doesn't make it to the squad. So for this game, I'm going to go for the following. Both teams to score, 190. I love this one. But I like one even better. Monaco to win, 270.
I have to agree with you on the tip. First of all, I start with the tip. For me, it's also both teams to score, because yes, Braga, I think they are no favorite against Monaco, but they got firepower up front against Sheriff. There are a lot of chances in the end. The 2-0 the return was a little bit maybe not a true reflection of the chances they had, but Braga is also a team that concedes quite a lot. Monaco, Ben Yedder, the numbers are phenomenal, 22 goals in 15 games so far this season, but overall the team has improved in January since they changed the manager. They sacked Kovac, who couldn't quite settle into a proper style. Sometimes they play with a back three, sometimes they play with a back four. They got Philippe Clement, very experienced, the Belgian, former manager of Genk and Bruges. Results have improved. 6 clean sheets in the last 11 for Monaco. A decent defense. They conceded 29 in the league. Is only 5 more than PSG. They are quite far below on the table, though, by the way. They are unbeaten in the Europa League so far. And I remember in the playoff, in the knockout stage of the playoff, back in the summer, Edu, which we watched together, they were very, very unlucky against Shakhtar in the return game. They should have won that game. So they should have been in the Champions League. We saw how badly Shakhtar plays. So, clearly it's a team of a higher quality, I think. And, good win at the weekend at Marseille. They went away and win. A great game from Juan Lucas, the Brazilian midfielder. And also they brought Venderson from Grêmio. He's having a good game. Marsiglia had the chances, but, Monaco knew when they can punch. I think this season can only get better for Monaco. I think they can still push for a Champions League qualification spot. They have to get the consistency back, but I think definitely they got the players there to do it. But as I said, both to score, I think it's a good bet with Monaco slightly favorites.
Indeed, both teams to score seems like a good bet, or going for Monaco, good odds for a team full of quality. And the last game is Rangers Red Star, 3 points away from Celtic. They were the huge surprise, beating Borussia Dortmund, and now they have an easier rival, I guess. Red Star not even top in the Serbian league. Do you trust Rangers to do the job and continue in their European dream?
Well, I mean, it seems on the card that is an easier draw, this one, but this could be a tricky one because, they are playing a team that won the league last year. Yes, they are second behind Partizan, but they beat Partizan 2 weeks ago. They won the last 5. It's a team with a lot of character, a lot of team spirit. We saw them last year in the Europa League against Milan. They only went out because of the away goal rule, so otherwise they would have gone to the extra time. So they gave Milan a very, very good games. They're still in contention to win in the league. 4 games to go. Only lost 1 game domestically. It is a big game for Red Star Belgrade. It's a team that maybe we were used to see more in the European competition. In fact, this is the biggest game for them since 96, 97. But, and we talk about character, managed by Dejan Stankovic. What a great player he was, and what a fighter he was on the pitch. And obviously, he gets them fired up really well. Key players, very dangerous, very intelligent up front. Alexander Kataj, 3 goals the weekend, already scored 23 in total, the Serbian. Mirko Ivanic plays for Montenegro, 15 goals already scored. And also, I think they strengthened the team as well this season. They brought Dragovic, who plays for the Austrian national team, and then he got quite of a surprise in goal. Canada already qualified for the World Cup. They got Borjan, who is the keeper of Canada. We'll see him at the World Cup for sure. And it is a team that has surprised us recently. I always remember the win against Liverpool in 2018-2019 at the Maracana, 2-0 for Red Star Belgrade. Okay, they finished bottom in the group stage of the Champions League, but it was a difficult one with PSG and Napoli as well, if I remember correctly. And yes, mentioning, of course, the good game they had at Milan last season. A bit of a bonus game, I think, for Red Star Belgrade. Obviously, they're not targeting the Europa League this season. Let's see, because Rangers, they tend to concede. I mean, it's a spectacular team to watch, but they do tend to concede goals as well. For this reason, I'm going to go for over 2.5 goals, 197.
I like that one. I like that one from Daniele. I think as well that Glasgow Rangers, they are going to attack more. I know what they are capable of at home. And the corners market sounds like a very reasonable to me as well. Reasonable one. Asian handicap corners -2 for Rangers. That pays 188. Rangers, they are in a fine moment. I wouldn't say that this as spectacular as it was with Steven Gerrard, not at all. But well, to start with, the other day, before the game against Aberdeen, they celebrated 150 years, so happy birthday to them. Not every club is as old as they are, and they are still in fine form. Then with Gio van Bronckhorst, they have lost only 1 game since he took over from Steven Gerrard. So the new manager, the Dutchman, is not doing a bad job. This weekend, they will have to play in the Scottish Cup quarterfinals against Dundee, but I think that they are going to put all their eggs in the Europa League basket this time. In fact, in the weekend, they rotated a little bit. They even had Aaron Ramsey on the bench because he seems to be recovered from his injury, but he didn't play a single minute. And I'm thinking that Aaron Ramsey didn't play because Gio van Bronckhorst, he wants to play him in the game against Red Star. Red Star had a very easy group in the Europa League. Maybe this game is going to be too much for them, or at least this game, not this tire, but this game in Scotland could be difficult to deal for them. So I'm going to go for over 2.5 goals, 197, and Asian handicap corners -2 for Rangers. That pays 188. But if I have to position myself, who is going to win this game? Who is more likely to win it? I will say Rangers. That pays 182. So, if you believe a little bit on the Scottish side, go for it. Go for that one. Glasgow Rangers to win, 182.
Great, guys. We've analyzed all 7 games. I enjoyed, as always, all your analysis and your tips. Usually we are very good. You are very good with your ACCAs. Let's listen to the ones for Europe this time. Alvaro, starting with you.
Very quickly, Betis Frankfurt, both teams to score. Atalanta Leverkusen, over 2.5 goals. Barcelona to score in both halves, and Barcelona to win both halves. That pays, 981. As you can see, I put a lot of faith in Barcelona's game. If Barcelona doesn't do well, Mayaca will be completely useless and a nonsense. But, 981, I think that this is a very good value.
It is difficult to find value in this ACCA because, these ties are very difficult to analyze. So you need to try to go for something likely. I had to go for 5 games to manage to get a decent ACCA. And these are the following: Porto Lyon over 2.5 goals, Sevilla West Ham over 1.5 goals, Barcelona to win the first half against Galatasaray, Braga Monaco went for a double chance X2, and Rangers versus Red Star Belgrade, and is total 10.48.
Brilliant, guys, brilliant. Let's see if we are lucky again. I want to thank you as always, and of course thanks everyone for watching. Remember to leave your comments. Enjoy Europa League, click on the like, subscribe, and follow us, of course. See you guys.
Ciao Edu.
Bye.